It is a hot day today. Humidex readings in the 30s in Ontario as well as southern Quebec. In fact, there is a risk of thunderstorms later this morning and through the early afternoon. We may be seeing some storms. Now, largely this would be non-severe, and in the case of Ottawa and Montreal, it could linger through the better part of, say, the mid-afternoon or so. But this is the cold front in question that's coming through. It's brought about 30 millimeters on the highest end in northern Ontario, so that's the history of its rain-making ability. And then off it goes into the Atlantic provinces. Behind it, we have a stabilization. High pressure builds back in. The skies become brighter than today, and there will also be some slightly cooler air coming in, but it's very refreshing. In fact, it's a beautiful time to head out onto a double-decker bus. They're not just in England, they're here in Ontario as well. In fact, Kevin Yard is on one right now. Thanks so much for that, Kevin. Well, you know what? There's actually another little bit of rainy weather that comes into southwestern Ontario Wednesday night through Thursday, and it's possible some of those showers may reach up into the GTA. But these are the forecast temperatures for this afternoon. These are the core temperatures, not factoring in that humidity that's built up and drawn in from the south. And so our humidex readings are sitting in the 30s, so it is definitely a hot and sticky one today. The cold front then comes through, and notice how even by this evening, we're into the high teens, low 20s. So a much more refreshing air mass is on the way. A great night to open the windows, let some fresh air in. And then tomorrow afternoon's temperatures, again, low 20s. But there will be a little bit more in the way of cloud cover further south down toward the Niagara area because there is some precipitation. I think you'll see a good look at that on this map right here. So just this little bit of green that's coming down toward Lake Erie. Well, some of that might reach up into the GTA. Certainly cloud cover is more likely than all sunshine, more in the way of variable clouds. And then Saturday, some more rain arriving down through the south and west. So 7-day forecast. We've got temperatures here. This is summer. After all, mid-20s, high 20s, humidex readings sitting in the 30s. I'm Sheryl Plouffe with your weather update. These are the developing stories this hour. Of course, we've got the wildfires that continue in Western Canada. The Pan Am forecast so far looking like a forecast win, in fact, and a stormy afternoon commute possibly upon us. Let's take a look, though, at what it looks like outside. And overall, we're looking at some heat, actually, and humidity. What a great way to see the city of Toronto. Well, high temperatures today, 26 in Toronto. A little hotter, actually, as you head north, almost 30 degrees in Barrie. So overall, it's a pretty warm pattern that we're going to be seeing. The temperatures do drop a little bit after the front, which comes through. It's been bringing some rain. Northern Ontario saw about 30 millimeters of rain on the high end of this. And then the front comes through. It does bring us a slightly fresher air mass. However, there's also possibly going to be some action late Wednesday through Thursday. So just something to be mindful of because there is some precipitation reaching down Lake Erie way, but there may be some that reaches up into the GTA. Right now, that probability of precipitation is only sitting at 20%, but it may go up to 30%. So you'll see that on your local forecast. This evening, Toronto 21, 18 in Newmarket. Again, this is the slightly fresher air mass that's coming in for the overnight. I think overall it's a pretty good one to open the windows, let some fresh air come in. Wednesday afternoon's temperatures, low 20s. Very comfortable overall, and a lot more in the way of sunshine tomorrow versus today. And Thursday is looking at this point like a pretty sunny go of it, but there may be some clouds. We'll just have to watch for the possibility of some early day showers reaching up, certainly down into the Niagara area. And for those commuters who are coming in from that region, there'll be some rain initially, and maybe it'll trail off as you go further to the north. So looking ahead to Thursday, there it is, just that little bit of precipitation. So watch your local forecast. You may see some changes on the probability of precipitation, that percentage rating at the bottom. Otherwise, looking ahead to Saturday, we've got some rain looking to come back into the southwest of the province. So the GTA forecast, next 7 days. Sunday, risk of storms here. Notice the humidex readings are in the high 20s, low 30s, really over the next many days, but a good dose of sunshine expected. Let's take a look at Hamilton. Tomorrow, 21, climbs to 27, 28 degrees. The weekend, drier on Saturday than on Sunday. The probability of storms does increase from 30 to 60% by the end of the weekend. Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for bringing that to our attention. I think maybe a good idea would be to have a little box that you put away in your basement and then just kind of put them in there and then take them to recycling at some point, right, in the future. Not going to go for each bulb, obviously. High temperatures. We're talking 26 degrees in Toronto today, a little warmer and toward Barrie at 29. So nearing the 30-degree mark. It's overall a pretty decent day, although there is a risk for thunderstorms later in the afternoon. Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. In fact, Ottawa and Montreal, those storms might even last more through the mid-afternoon and late afternoon versus Toronto. I think there'll be a pretty quick mover coming through. This front has had a history of bringing with it about 30 millimeters of rain in northern Ontario. We're not expecting to see that much likely across the south, as it's probably more in the range of, say, 15 millimeters, I think, on the high end of it. But with local thunderstorms, clearly we can see the higher totals still. High pressure comes in behind, so we do have a fresher air mass upon us once that front moves through. In fact, we'll start to even feel the effect of that later today, later this afternoon and through the evening. The jet stream is doing some funny things here. We've got a big ridge across BC. That's why it's been so dry. The last time it rained in Vancouver was June 18th, and it's likely going to be another 5 days or so before we see any rain in Vancouver. And the smoke is even setting off fire alarms in North Vancouver, just to give sort of perspective on that. High pressure across the prairies is going to be the case. And then we've got, of course, our change in the jet stream pattern that's underway. Low pressure system is going to be coming toward us a little bit later on in the week as well. There is the chance of some thunderstorms later in the day, although we're not expected to see major storms, nor are they really going to last all that long. It's a cold front that is coming through and will bring us some high pressure behind it, but again, expecting between probably about 15 or so millimeters of rain in southern Ontario. Now, having said that, there may be some local storms that produce higher amounts, but that's the overall trend. This afternoon, 28, Toronto feels like 33, 34. However, it's going to cut down the humidity once that front comes through. Ottawa and Montreal, chance of storms as well. Halifax, fair day, lots of sunshine. And in Newfoundland, we've had some very chilly air in St. John's, but that's all changing around with the change in the wind direction. So here's our cold front. It's moving through. We can see some higher totals of rain with that locally with thunderstorms, but off it goes. High pressure stabilizes the atmosphere behind it, and we do see some fresher air coming in. So for those who don't like that humidity and the stickiness to the air, there is some relief in sight. Let's turn it over to Kevin Yard, though. He is on a double-decker bus taking a tour of the city of Toronto. Thanks so much for that, Kevin. I, for one, don't mind the hot weather at all, but I know some people really don't like it this sticky and this humid. But when we look at the 7-day forecast, we're getting a brief spell of some really more summer-like weather, in the sense of not so much in the way of extreme humidity. But you can see here that the humidity does increase again. So it's going to feel like 32 once we get to the weekend. And Saturday overall is a drier day than on Sunday, where that chance of rain and storms increases to 40%. The other thing I want to mention is that Wednesday night through Thursday, see how the probability here is 20%? It's possible that could go up to 30. So that's just something to watch in your local forecast, because there is a low pressure system that's just down into the Lake Erie area, and it may bring us some rain as well. This is Hamilton's forecast over the next few days. I'm Sheryl Plouffe with your weather update. Storm Hunters is coming up momentarily. We're looking at our evening temperatures in St. John's. The wind switch, the directional change, is helping to bring our temperatures back up to seasonal over the next couple of days. It's been very chilly there. Halifax 19, still sunny. Risk of storms in Ottawa, Montreal. Toronto, maybe some lingering showers, but we should be on the tail end of it by this time frame. And back toward the west, it is still going to be hot. I'm Sheryl Plouffe with your weather update. Angry Planet is coming up in just a moment. Looking at the temperatures this evening across the west, still, high teens. Vancouver 24, lots of sunshine. There's really no precipitation on tap for BC at all. We could really use some wet weather. Across eastern Canada, St. John's, a nice rebound in our temperatures. Yesterday it was 9 and then 19 degrees for Wednesday. So that's quite a jump because of the wind changing direction. A little fresher air mass in southern Ontario as well as southern Quebec, Montreal. Mix of sun and cloud, and 23 on Wednesday.